I know it's a long time.
Morning, Yanni. How are you? It's morning here, afternoon there. I've been waiting over a year to hear that.
I know. I've been waiting. Since March. It's been a year and a month.
A year and a month. Well, it was March 9th the last time we were together in Denver a year ago. That's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing.
It is. And so much has happened to you in a year.
I'm ready to do this.
I heard there's a rumor out there that I think it's like it was a Woj bomb that you're retiring after this year.
Who's that?
Well, it was from Woj. It was a bomb, Woj bomb. You know the tweets that Woj tweet. But no, I heard that you were retiring this year.
You heard that?
Yeah, after this year. Is that true?
It is true, Yanni.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
I never intended to work my whole life. I hope you understand.
I understand. We're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you, man. I'm gonna miss you. No, for sure.
I'm going to miss you.
I want to welcome Jim Paschke to this year's telecast. Jim, it's great to have you. We've got a good game going here as well.
Well, we sure do, John. It's great to be on the network and a pleasure to be working with you. There we are.
Welcome back to Basketball and Bucks.com TV. I'm Jim Paschke. I'll tell you the story when my son, and you'll appreciate this as a father, when my son was small, he grew up with this business. He was born 2 years after I started with the Bucks, and every year I would ask him if he wanted me to be home more.
Yeah.
And he would always say, no, I love the Bucks, and I love your job, and I love being around basketball. And then last summer, about 3 weeks before he got married, he called me and he asked me to retire.
Your son.
And so that hit home with me, and I said, yes, I will. And we talked about it, and I said, I wouldn't want somebody to have to come in and have a new job with the Bucks and have to deal with all the COVID-related issues that we're dealing with. So I've known for about a year that this was going to be the time that I would get on to the next phase of my life, Yanni.
Hey, man, 35 years. Jim, and I was, blessed to be, a part of 8 of them. It was amazing, and I personally going to definitely miss you. You commentated the game, being around the team, laughing, cracking jokes together. But I'm happy that, this decision was made, based on your son. Because at the end of the day, family is the most important thing. I became a father a year ago, and if my son told me, Dad, when are you going to retire from basketball and play more with me? I'll probably retire right now, because that's how I am. But I'm definitely going to. I don't want to get in my feelings at all. I'm not going to do that. But I got some questions for you. Where's my phone?
Okay.
I have
a question for you. Do you remember the first day we met? I remember when you came to Milwaukee, you were by yourself, and we met, and I remember this thin young man who was all alone and smiling and happy, and nothing has changed. Well, a few things have changed.
few things.
But you're the same person, and I appreciated you that day, and I appreciate you today.
I think I remember the first time we met, was it when I came for the press conference after the draft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
then I remember the first practices and you learning how to drive when we were at the Cousins Center.
I was learning how to drive with Russ. Not only that, I have this funny story. I was learning how to drive with Russ, right?
Guys, here Russ is my teacher. Even I get 60 years old, they're gonna still teach me how to drive. And guys, just to let you guys know, I drive better than him. Oh.
It was the first time I was alone in my life, and because I was always with my family. So I used to go and hang with Russ and sleep on his couch, watch games together. So we built the connection that you know. And there was sometimes that he would leave the, leave the city, go back to visit his mom and his dad. And I'm like, yeah, can I have the keys of the car, please? I had no license. But
Oh my God. No?
no. But only to go to the facility, which was like 30 seconds away. So that's how I kind of learned how to drive. Yeah, I remember
Those
when I
were
came.
good days. Yeah, I remember, the first thing I remember is you asking me, and this is when I knew the kind of person you were when it came to basketball. You asked me which players you should study on video and which players you could learn from, and I'll never forget that. That was very early. That was the first few practices you asked me that, and I appreciated that, and I knew immediately that you were the real deal. You were going to be something someday because you cared that much about the game and about improving, and you're the same way today, Yanni.
Yeah, it's you. In order for you to, excel and be better at what you do, you always got to be student of the game. You got to keep learning. You got to, be open for everything, And I remember at the time, being the 15th pick, out of nowhere, and people didn't know me. But I tried to humble myself as much as possible. I was trying to be, act like I was undrafted. I didn't care about being the number 1 pick, 15 pick. I wanted to be the student of the game. I wanted to learn as much as possible. I didn't care if I was going to the G League or whatever the case might be, or not playing. And I just wanted to learn, And there was people around the facility which I trusted, you were one of them and you were always around us, right? So that's why I probably asked that question. So for any kid, any player, anybody out there, any person, you always got to be open about learning and ask questions, as much as possible. And that's what my dad told me, and that's what I was, always doing.
Sometimes I think you and I are more alike than people might think, because that's the way I always was too, and it helped me in my entire career. So I interrupted you. You were going to ask me some questions.
Oh, yes. Let's get to the questions.
Questions, the lifeblood of sports journalism. But who are the people who are asking these questions? How do they do it? And what are the stakes?
Okay. So, what was your favorite moment of your career?
Oh, that's a great question. There have been too many.
Too many.
And you have given me many. Wow. I think the 2001 team, when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, was the first big moment, probably. Michael Redd, record 57 points against Utah.
Michael catches, shoots, three. Yes! Michael Redd, 57 points!
I'm going to break that
The
record,
games
by
that
the
you
way.
played, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals in Toronto was a wonderful time. There's just been so many, Yanni, that someday I'll think about them and reflect on them. Game winners, Mo Williams, Michael Redd.
Simmons, no timeouts, you gotta go. Williams, three. Yes! For the win! For the win! The Milwaukee Bucks have snatched one back. Unbelievable.
It's been such a thrill. I got into this because I enjoyed the spectacle of sport, and the Bucks have certainly given me a lot of spectacles over the 35 seasons.
Yeah, for sure. If you ask me the same question, I wouldn't be able to give you one moment. There's so many moments, because we love what we do. We enjoy every moment, I got another question. What's gonna be the one thing you're gonna miss?
The people, Yanni. I'll miss the people.
With John McLaughlin, I'm Jim Paschke. It's great to be home.
I'm sure I'll miss the games. I'll miss being in the big crowds and all of the things that we enjoy. I'll miss seeing the country. I enjoyed the travel. I liked seeing the different cities and learning about our nation. And a lot of things we get to do are very, very enjoyable. But I'll miss the people. And living in the culture of basketball has been so enlightening to me. You know what it's like. We get on an airplane and sometimes it sounds like we're at the United Nations. Players from all over the world are speaking their languages on the phone to their friends and family. Being around that diverse culture and learning about people and learning that we're all alike, really, if we stop and take a moment and think about it, we're all the same. That's been the greatest blessing of my career and my life, actually. But at the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, for both of us, it has been about you. Thank you for welcoming us into your homes for 30 years. We have always appreciated that, and John, I know that you agree with me. That is a debt that will never be repaid. Thank you all very, very much for what you have given us.
So, what was your favorite moment with me? Except the moment.
Favorite moment with you?
Yeah, except you said that you talked a little bit about the moment that we met. First time we met, then you talked about when I asked you about which players I should study. But what other moment you enjoyed with me?
The first time you referred to me as Mr. Jim made me smile. And every time I see you and you call me Mr. Jim, I smile. People think that's wonderful. I think it's great. And outside of the basketball part of what you give us all, that will always be something I remember. And I'll tell you one other thing. The night that they hung a banner in the Bradley Center honoring John McLaughlin and me for 30 years of broadcasting, you came over, you came out of the locker room at halftime and watched the end of the ceremony, and you came over and shook my hand, and I was able to introduce you to my mother. My mother talks about you to everyone she meets all day, every day, because you came over and said hello, and she thought that was so wonderful of you to take the time to come over and say congratulations to me. So I think that might be my very favorite personal moment with you, Yanni. And then every time I see you give away a pair of shoes after a game to a young Bucks fan or a fan in another city, that's a favorite moment for me too, because I always remember, and I talk about this, there was a time when you had to share a pair of shoes with Thanasis in order to play the game. And look where you are today. You give away shoes that will be a lasting memory to young fans of this game. So that's emotional for me every time I see it, and I thank you for that.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Jim, I'll say this. You know, throughout my career, and one thing that I, never realized, and I realize more now as I'm a little bit older, because all of the things I do, I just do it because of me, how I was raised, and how disciplined I am. And I think how, as I said, I was raised by my parents, right? So, but now, I started realizing like how many people's life I can touch, and how many people I can inspire all over the world, and that's what I try to do, by, giving a kid a jersey, giving somebody a fan a shoe, coming and talking to you, which I didn't know at that moment that was one of your favorite moments. I didn't know. I just did it because I wanted to congratulate you, because I know how hard you work, to be up there in the Pfizer Forum, for the rest of your life. That's legacy. That's history, and I want to be a part of that, and I know how hard. How hard you have to work and what it takes to be a part of that. It's just crazy that God bless us in a way and put us in a position that we can touch, we can inspire people around us. So that's amazing. I didn't know that was one of your favorite moments. Okay, let's move on to the next question, Mr. Jim.
I thought of one more. You won't be most improved again because you're an all-star starter, right? Remember the interview we did when I told you that you probably wouldn't win most improved player again, and you stopped me and said,
Why? I might be the MVP this year. If I win the MVP, I can be the most improved. Because I knew.
I like the way you think.
Okay, so.
Well, look what's happened. That's a favorite moment, too.
Yeah.
You've become a two-time MVP, Giannis, and a Defensive Player of the Year. So I'll never forget that moment either.
It's crazy. We've had amazing moments, you know, and it's kind of. I love doing the interviews with you because, you know, I get to sit down with you and talk about the season, you know, and it's always nice to do the interviews with somebody that you're comfortable with, you know, and this you can feel the content that goes out there to the people is authentic.
Here we go.
Here we go again. Whenever we talk, you kind of kept me accountable. You know, whenever we sat down and he was like, what's next? What's next for you, Giannis? And after Most Improved, I was like, Mr. Jim, I think what's next, I want to win the MVP. I want to make my team great. You kind of kept me accountable. Whenever I saw you, I kind of remembered, the promise, the conversation we had, and I should have won Most Improved. Second time in the year because I was better. And the year after that, I was better again. So, but I'll say this. I'll say, just coming, doing the interviews, you kept me accountable, and you always asked me what was next, and I always had a plan for what was next. So what's next for you, Mr. Jim? What's the plan?
Well, I was just going to ask you, what's next for you? Can you win a championship in my last season?
Oh my goodness. But at the end of the day, I believe this year is a year that we come in as underdogs. I feel like people have, put us away, and I love that feeling. That's how it was my whole life.